Hey guys, welcome back to the Computer Headquarters YouTube channel. This is another video that is part of the i9-9900k 2080 Ti build using the Cougar Conquer case. We've got some updates, some more parts came in, some more parts are getting installed. And if you haven't caught some of those previous videos, definitely rewind, go back and look at some of those videos, especially starting at the beginning where we lay out like the whole game plan about all the parts we're going to be putting into this build and selecting those parts and reasons why we did that. It's a lot better to start at the beginning and work your way up. Be less confusing. Okay, so go back and check those out if you haven't already. And about this particular video right now, we're going to be talking about and installing some NZXT AER RGB 2 fans with the Hue 2 controller. We're going to be installing some sleeved cable extensions, and we'll also be doing like a wrap of vinyl 3D carbon fiber-esque orange wrap over one of the panels on the case because the color that it arrived in was not correct from what we thought we ordered. So that's what we're doing today. Let's jump into that. Okay guys, so we're finishing up some cosmetic things here. We've got the 3D vinyl wrap, 3D, it's 3D carbon fiber, I think is what they call it, from this brand called Vivid. So we've got this that we're gonna wrap this panel for sure. Look at the difference in color right there. That's the orange we wanted from the beginning. That's gonna match the coolant. And then we've got some orange sleeve cables, and we have the missing NZXT AER RGB 2 fans that will match the 3 fans we have up here, along with the Hue 2 controller to control all the lighting. So a lot of work to do, all cosmetic stuff here, and let's jump in. Let's start with these Fantex extension cable kits. So this comes with 4 different cables, I want to say. There's the 24 pin, which we need obviously. There is an 8-pin CPU, which we definitely need. As you can see here, we need that. And then there are 2, I want to say 8 to 6 plus 2 pin for video cards, which we also need both of those for our video card. However, we do need another extension cable for that 4-pin right there. I was not able to locate just a 4-pin, like a 4-pin to 4-pin or an 8-pin to 4-pin. So I had to order another 8-pin, and it didn't come in the mail today. So it should be here tomorrow, but let's open this up. It looks pretty nice so far. This comes with the like cable management clip things, which are nice. They do make everything look a lot cleaner when you use them. So here are the cables, and as far as the shade of orange goes, it is darker than the bright orange on the 3D carbon there, but it's still much more orange than this stupid panel. So I'm happy with the color and the accuracy of the website showing the color. So I'm gonna go ahead and just throw all this stuff in the case and then come right back. Alright, so this is just mocked up. It's super sloppy right now. So you can just see I've thrown like one of these clips into each cable just to kind of get an idea, and it's not very exciting, I'll be honest. Right now it doesn't look that great, but I think part of the problem is we've got this only one stick of RAM in here. It's a Viper stick. The CPU doesn't have a water block on it, and there's no tubing anywhere, and the waterway is missing. I think it sounds funny, but I think a lot of that stuff just adds up to be a huge difference. Especially, I don't know if you guys realize this, but the water pipes, the tubing, is going to take up a ton of space. Like, it's going to really make the whole computer when all that tubing is all connected. So, but I do think that this isn't supposed to like be a big deal. It's just supposed to be like a little extra touch. These are obviously I just threw these in here. This is super sloppy. I'll clean it all up with zip ties and stuff when I need to. It's definitely going to be interesting though with the cabling on the back here, because we're just going to have a rat's nest, and trying to make it look presentable on the back is just going to be, it's going to be hard. I don't know if I'm going to try to make it look presentable, but there is a glass panel that goes on the back too. So if I can make it look presentable, I will, but if it turns into a headache, I won't. So let's move forward and let's get these fans installed in the controller. Okay, I've got a big mess going here, right? Sorry guys, I know some of you get really triggered. One guy got triggered because at one point this desk was actually very cleaned off, and on one of my videos there were a couple boxes of like processors, like Ryzen boxes like that, just a couple, maybe 2 or 3 along the wall, and this desk was actually super clean. Someone said clean up your desk, so obviously some people get triggered about messes, but I don't, and this will all get cleaned up eventually, right? But in the middle of this project right now, we've got these 2 new NZXT fans mounted. Now, something I read that's, I guess, super important is that these are the second version or generation 2 of these fans, whereas these fans are generation 1. And according to the instruction manual here, when I'm using my Hue 2, I need to make sure I divide these into 2 different channels. There's 4 total channels, 2 here and 2 here. So I need to divide them separately or I can have a big problem. I'm also going to mention that while I do think the NZXT fans are the best looking fans on the market, the previous time I used these fans had a pretty major problem. They actually killed my Maximus 10 Formula motherboard. It was a huge deal. I had just bought the board from Fry's. I bought it brand new. It was $550 or something crazy like that, and it killed it. And I had to go through a huge, terrible RMA process with NZXT, who eventually had to send me a new motherboard, and it was just a lot of downtime, and it was not a pleasant process. So I almost have been pretty burned out with their products using their Hue Plus. However, this is the Hue 2, and I'm trusting that they fixed a lot of the problems they had with the previous version. I hope that's the case. So I'm thinking of mounting this Hue 2 probably like this. It does have magnets in it, but this case is aluminum, so it doesn't stick. So I've got a Commander 2 or Commander sticky double stick thing that I'm going to use, and so it'll probably just stick, you know, something like that on the back here. And then I'll have the 3 fans on the top daisy chained together, 2 fans on the front daisy chained together to do 2 different channels. Then I'll add some RGB strips as well to light up the waterway on its own channel, and they'll have an extra channel open if I ever want to do a separate channel for something else. But worth mentioning, all this cable management and things, like, it's already becoming a big mess, right? And there's still a lot more cables to go. And I have this box for the thermal take that's like the bar that goes across the radiator. So this has its own box. I'll pop it out right here. Its own box, its own power. And too bad this doesn't just control all the NZXT stuff. I could have just probably got Thermaltake fans, but I didn't want to. I wanted the NZXTs. So I have to have both of these boxes, and I have to get a fan controller on top of that. So there's gonna be 3 boxes back here, kind of all in the same area. It's gonna be kind of a mess. It's gonna be a big mess. Anyway, let's move on. Let's get the panel wrapped. So you can see that we've got this case put back together. We have the new vinyl wrapped orange panel, and I think it came out pretty well. If you get close up, you can see like the carbon fiber. Let's see if I can focus there. Carbon fiber look to it, and you know, we've got everything kind of mocked up again. So all the screws are in place, and the fans are all tightened down. And as I mentioned, we've got our controllers back here that need to get mounted, but we're pretty much ready to move on to the next steps, which are going to be installing some memory that should be arriving tomorrow, installing the water block on the CPU, which should be arriving tomorrow, and then we can start running a lot of the fittings and some of the tubing for the water cooling. The only problem is that we don't have the waterway. I've probably said that 12 times already. And then finally, I do need to make my decision on what SSD setup we're going to go with. This is a 24-lane motherboard. The video card uses 16 lanes, and typically I want to say that M2, NVMe M2 drives use 4 lanes, and a PCIe M2 like that also uses 4 lanes. So I only have 8 lanes available. It would be really sweet if I could have done 2 M2 drive or 2 NVMe drives in RAID 0 for my boot to have super fast boots, and then when I'm rendering video, my output could be going to that G.Skill 960 right there. Everything would have been amazing, but I don't think I have the bandwidth to make everything run at its needed speed. I think everything would be 4 4 lanes over basically. So I think everything would get defaulted down to 2 lanes, which would slow everything down. So I do have some decisions I need to make. I may end up just sticking with one NVMe SSD and then maybe stick with this G-Skill. So anyway, I think we've got a lot of work ahead of us, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button and consider subscribing and check out my other videos. Thanks.